Every country size comparison. Okay, we are beginning with a cruise ship for scale, and then we have Vatican City, which, do you know what? Compared to a cruise ship, that's bigger than I'd imagined. I would have thought Vatican would have been maybe twice the size of a cruise ship, but it's more like 5 or 6 times. Right, after Vatican should be Monaco. Yeah, we know stuff, that's right. Nauru and Tuvalu, a couple of oceanic countries. Then back to Europe for San Marino and Liechtenstein. Bloody hell! I thought Liechtenstein was small. It's 160 kilometers squared. It is so much bigger than San Marino. It would still take about 4.5 hours to walk from the north to the south. I guess that just shows how small the previous countries are. And then we have Marshall Islands, St. Kitts and Nevis. We've had quite a big difference here. We have a lot of oceanic countries and island countries popping about. Lots of Caribbean places, it seems. And bear in mind, this is only landmass that's taken account for, so all this spare ocean in the middle, that makes no difference. Right, Barbados, Antigua. I like seeing the way the maps are displayed. Seychelles! Best flag going, don't mind if I do. Other than St. Lucia, I prefer the St. Lucia flag. Right, so what's after Seychelles? Palau, okay. Andorra, back in Europe. St. Lucia, there it is. What's all these dots? Whoa, Micronesia. Micronesia's landmass is bizarre, isn't it? You can understand why it's called Micronesia. I can't really visualize what the country would look like. Oh my god, it looks amazing. Oh, I want to go. Oh, look at the runway. Right, so this is still number 177. Singapore is a very small country considering how developed it is, and then Tonga is a really interesting shape. Dominica with its beautiful purple parrot. It is so weird seeing all of the different shapes of everything. Oh, big step up there in order to show what? Comoros? I feel like you've been a bit premature. Luxembourg is rank 168. There's like 30 countries that are smaller than Luxembourg. I feel like this whole time I've thought of Luxembourg as like one of the 5th smallest countries, and I was very, very wrong. Okay, next we have Samoa. Whoa, Cape Verde. So Cape Verde isn't necessarily that much bigger, but it's just because of how far all of the different islands are spread. Cyprus, very recognizable. I love seeing Cyprus with its flag displayed over the top of it because the outline's in the flag. It's just satisfying. I wish it was centered, I'm not gonna lie, but I can get over it. Okay, so we know what all of the biggest countries are, but I don't really know how all of these middle countries compare. Look at Gambia, such a bizarre country shape. Why have we zoomed out so much? What is coming? Something crazy, surely. Israel is actually bigger than Slovenia. I would never have expected that. And then we have a lot of different countries. Rwanda, Haiti, Burundi, Equatorial Guinea. Look at that. Look at its weird, perfect right angle. Okay, and then Solomon Islands popping up. Solomon Islands are a lot bigger than I expected. Then we've got Armenia, Lesotho, Belgium. I cannot believe that countries like Solomon Islands are actually much smaller than Belgium. There we go. Taiwan sneaking in there, cheeky. Netherlands and Denmark side by side, along with Estonia and Dominican Republic. Slovenia? What's with all this spare space up here? What was that about? Who messed up the system there? Croatia, and then Togo, very straight, tall country. Togo actually slightly smaller than Latvia, which is interesting. Sri Lanka is a country that you kind of don't think of as being that big, but it is rank 119, so there's like 70 countries in the world that are smaller than it. But you always compare it next to India. You think of it as like a teeny tiny little teardrop. But here it is, nearly the same size as Ireland, which is kind of mental. Then we've got Sierra Leone, we've got Panama, Czech Republic, United Arab Emirates is another country that I always think of as really small, but it's kind of more in the middle. And then Jordan. It's going to be mad when stuff like Russia and China and Brazil start popping up. It's going to be such a huge difference. Guatemala, Cuba being a very annoying long shape there. Bulgaria is actually slightly bigger than Cuba. Never would have expected that. Benin, a really bizarre shape. Eritrea, once again, I would have thought that was much smaller than places like North Korea, for example, but it's not too different at all. Bangladesh, Tunisia. Okay, we must be due a big upgrade shortly, surely. Cambodia, Syria, Senegal, all very similar in size. Same with Kyrgyzstan as well, to be fair. Guyana. Romania, making it into not quite the top 80. United Kingdom, 78th biggest country. And then I always think of New Zealand as being quite a similar size, and I suppose it's not too different. Philippines, though, for some reason I've always thought of as a lot bigger. Italy is actually slightly smaller than Poland, which I never would have expected. Norway and Vietnam being a similar size makes sense when you look at them anyway. Germany, rank 60. And then Japan, rank 61. Well, that can't be right. Hang on. Rank 58 for Iraq. Morocco, you don't think of being as that big, but everything Africa is kind of distorted. Way bigger than you'd expect. Cameroon, nearly the top 50 biggest countries. Oh, Thailand. Quite the upgrade for Thailand. And then Yemen sneaking in. Kenya, Botswana, Madagascar. What did I tell you about Africa? Then we've got Ukraine. Ukraine's bigger than Kenya and Botswana. Would never have expected that. I was thinking of everything in Europe being kind of smaller than obviously Russia. Somalia? Oh, big upgrade. What is it? It's Chile. Chile is ruining our graph with its big longness. Chile top 37, which is amazing when it's so narrow. All right, Venezuela, Nigeria, Tanzania, Egypt, Mauritania. Lots and lots of African countries sneaking in. Look at Ethiopia with its iconic little point. Colombia. South Africa. Wouldn't have thought Colombia was as high as it is. We're in like the top 20 now. Okay, we're going to start seeing some of the big dogs popping in. Canada's got to be here at some point. Peru looking wild with its emblem on the flag. You don't always see that. Look at its cheeky little llama. Very nice. Okay, yeah, we definitely got some big dogs now. Mongolia, massive country. Iran, bigger than I expected. Libya, massive country. Sudan, absolutely huge. 1.8 million kilometers squared. Indonesia, gigantic country. Mexico, bigger than you think. You don't think top 13. Saudi Arabia, I mean, it's big, but not as big as you think. Greenland, not technically a country, but 2 million kilometers squared. Democratic Republic of Congo. Algeria, right, we now reach the top 10. Kazakhstan, Argentina, India. Okay, we've had a big upgrade. Australia, Brazil, Oceania. What are you sticking Oceania in for? That's not a country. That's a continent. Right, ignoring Oceania, what have we got left on this list? We've got to have Russia at number 1, Canada at number 2, but after like quite a big difference. And then is it USA? I'm probably going to get this wrong. Brazil's probably in there. China. I don't think we've even had India yet. I'm sure I've missed an obvious one, and I've definitely not got the order right. But what we got? China. Yep, we said that. That's number 4. We must have had India already. United States at number 3. Canada at number 2. And finally, Europe? What are you doing? Get out of there, Europe. Oh, it's just comparing the continents. Kind of mad that Russia is actually larger than Europe. There it is. There's the big guy. And then we get to see South America, and biggest continent is Asia, isn't it? So then we've got North America at rank number 3, biggest continent. Africa looking absolutely badass there. And there's Asia, 44 million kilometers squared. And the entire Earthland area, 149 million kilometers squared. Oh, you ruined it. Imagine putting all that data together and then putting a P instead of a B at the end. Either way, make sure you check out Lazy Comparisons at the top of the description. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you later.